Welcome to the deep dive. We take complex topics, dig through the details, and will hopefully give you those key insights you can really hold on to.
That's the goal.
And today we're tackling maybe the biggest question of all. Where did everything actually come from?
Yeah, the ultimate origin question. It's something humans have wrestled with forever, hasn't it? Every culture, every philosophy.
Absolutely. We just seem wired to look for that first domino, the cause behind all the other causes. It feels like more than just curiosity, it's almost a craving.
It really is. Because think about it. Everything we see, everything we interact with, it has a cause, a maker, a book, a building, even a thought.
You trace it back.
You trace it back.
Yep.
And eventually you hit this wall. What started the whole thing? What was there before? Well, before. It's the bedrock question for any system trying to explain reality.
Exactly. And what we're diving into today is the biblical answer to that. The idea that God is the one single, sovereign, uncaused cause.
Uncaused. That's
Yeah.
the picker.
Right. It's not just a dry theological term. It's fundamental. It says God started everything, brought it all into being.
Yeah.
But he himself, he wasn't created. He just is.
And that single idea, the uncreated creator, is the launch pad for everything we're exploring today. Our mission, if you will, in this deep dive, is to really unpack what makes God so unique, according to this view. His role is the absolute origin point, his existence completely outside of time and space as we know them,
Yeah.
and his total self-sufficiency, needing nothing.
Right.
We're aiming for those real aha moments,
Yeah.
give you a solid grasp of these foundational concepts vital for theology, for worship, for faith itself, but without hopefully drowning you in jargon.
Right. Making it accessible, but still deep. Let's start there then. This idea of the uncaused cause. What does that actually mean?
Okay, so at its core, it rests on a pretty basic observation, something we see constantly.
Yeah.
Things that begin to exist have a cause.
Seems obvious, right? If a chair suddenly appears in your room.
You'd ask who put it there.
Exactly.
We don't see things just popping into existence from absolute nothingness. There's always a reason, a source, a cause. It's like a fundamental law of how we understand reality.
There's a law of causality.
That's the one.
Yeah.
It's a cornerstone. You see a complex watch, you know there was a watchmaker. You see a painting, you know there was an artist. Things that begin don't just spontaneously generate themselves out of thin air.
Okay, so if everything that begins has a cause, where does that lead us?
It leaves us away from something called infinite regress, which sounds complicated, but the idea is simple.
Like those dominoes you mentioned earlier.
Exactly like the dominoes. Imagine a line of dominoes stretching back forever, infinitely. Each one falls because the one before it hit it.
Okay.
But if that line truly has no beginning, no first domino to start the whole chain reaction.
And none of them would ever fall.
Precisely. Nothing would be happening right now. Or think of it like dependencies. If everything depends on something else for its existence, and that depends on another thing, and that goes on forever, you never actually get to a starting point where existence can, well, start.
So for anything to exist now, for us to even be talking.
There must logically have been a first cause, something that didn't need a cause itself, something necessary and uncaused to kick everything off. Otherwise, the whole chain of reality just wouldn't exist. It's a logical necessity.
And this isn't some new idea cooked up recently, right?
Oh, not at all. This goes way back. Ancient Greek philosophy, Aristotle, talking about the unmoved mover, the source of all motion that isn't itself moved.
Right.
And then centuries later, Thomas Aquinas really fleshed this out with his arguments for first cause. He argued compellingly that logic demands a primary uncaused initiator for everything else.
It's fascinating how that ancient logic seems to resonate with modern science, too, like the
Yeah.
Big Bang Theory.
It really does. The Big Bang isn't just about the universe expanding. The Standard Model points to the universe itself, and even time and space as we understand them, having a definite beginning,
A starting point.
a starting point.
Hmm.
The evidence, cosmic microwave background radiation, the expansion we observe at all, points back to this incredibly hot, dense state, roughly 13.8 billion years ago. So if the universe began to exist,
Then whatever caused it must have been outside of it, outside of that beginning, outside of time and space as created in that moment.
exactly, it implies an initiator that isn't bound by the universe's own beginning or its physical laws, a cause that doesn't itself need the prior cause within that system.
And the Bible just lays this out from the very first sentence, doesn't it? Genesis 1.1.
Right there. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. It doesn't start with God's origin story.
No, God was created by...
Nope, he's just there, before the beginning, pre-existent. The one who initiates everything else, ex nihilo, out of nothing. He's simply presented as the existing reality from which creation flows.
He just is, which connects directly to that incredible moment in Exodus, right? At the burning bush.
Exodus 3.14, absolutely pivotal. Moses asks God's name, and God reveals himself as I am, W-H-O-I-M, or simply I am.
Not I became or I was made.
Exactly. It's not about a process or a past creation. It's a statement of pure, inherent, self-existent being. Timeless being. He is. Always has been, always will be. Because his existence isn't derived from anything else. It is his nature.
That's the concept of aseity you mentioned.
That's aseity, from the Latin esse, meaning from oneself. Self-existence. He doesn't depend on anything for his being. He is being.
And realizing that, I mean, that changes how you think about things like worship, doesn't it?
Hugely. If God simply is, if he needs nothing, then our worship isn't about giving him something he lacks. He doesn't need our praise to be more glorious or our service to feel complete.
He's already complete.
Totally. Absolutely sufficient in himself. So worship becomes this free, joyful response to his inherent greatness, not some kind of transaction or attempt to prop him up. It's incredibly freeing, actually.
Yeah, it takes the pressure off us in a way. It's not about our performance for him.
Right. It's about acknowledging who he is.
Yeah.
And the New Testament picks up this thread powerfully, especially concerning Jesus.
John's Gospel, chapter 1.
John 1.1-3. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him.
The Word. Logos. Jesus.
Jesus, the Logos representing divine reason, the ordering principle. He's presented not as a created being, but as eternally existing with God and as God, co-creator.
So the Godhead itself, Father, Son, shares this uncreated, self-existent nature.
That's the clear implication. The Father is, the Son is. It's intrinsic to their shared divine nature.
And those titles in Revelation, Alpha and Omega.
Revelation 1.8, 22.13. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end. These aren't just fancy titles.
No, they mean something specific.
They signify his absolute supremacy over all reality, from the very start to the very end. There's no before God. Time, as a dimension, starts with his creative act. He defines the timeline. He isn't defined by it.
He's the bookends.
The ultimate bookends. And Colossians adds another layer to this.
Colossians 1, yeah, about holding things together.
Verses 16 and 17.
Oh.
For by him Christ all things were created, and he is before all things, and in him all things hold together. This is huge. He's not just the initiator.
He's the sustainer, right now.
Right now. Actively holding the universe together, the laws of physics, the fabric of reality, the atoms themselves. He's not like a clockmaker who wound it up and walked away.
He's constantly involved.
Constantly upholding it. But crucially, he isn't sustained by it. His existence is independent of the creation he holds together. If he stopped, oof, it would all unravel.
So let's crystallize this distinction. Everything else, stars, planets, us, we're contingent.
Contingent. Meaning our existence depends on something else. We could not exist. We need causes, conditions, sustenance.
Like a plant needs sun and water.
Exactly. But God, in this view, is necessary. His existence isn't dependent on anything. He must exist logically as the ground for all contingent reality. He is the foundation.
And that makes him utterly different from everything else.
Fundamentally different. Everything else relies on something. Your phone relies on power, materials, code. You rely on air, food, water. Everything is interconnected, dependent.
But God isn't part of that chain of dependency.
He's the start of the chain, the ultimate independent reality. And this is where the biblical God really stands apart from, say, pagan deities.
How so?
Well, many pagan gods in ancient mythologies have origin stories themselves. They're born from chaos or from other gods. They have needs, dependencies, limitations.
They're part of the system, in a way.
Exactly. They might be powerful within the system, but they're still contingent beings. The biblical God isn't presented that way at all. He doesn't emerge from anything. He's the source of everything. Singular, uncaused, necessary.
Okay, that concept of being the uncaused source leads directly into this next mind-bending idea, God's transcendence, particularly over time and space.
Right. And this isn't just saying God is incredibly old or incredibly vast.
Bigger and older than anything else we know.
It's far more radical than that. Transcendence here means he exists entirely outside of time and space. They are dimensions he created, not dimensions he lives within.
Wow. Okay. Let's try to unpack that. Our entire lives are governed by time, right? Seconds, minutes, hours, past, present, future.
It defines our experience completely. And space too, length, width, height. Everything we perceive, everything we do happens in time and in space.
But the Bible says God isn't just filling up lots of space or time.
No, he's the author of them. Genesis 1 again. in the beginning.
Hmm.
That implies God initiating time itself along with the physical universe. Before that creative moment, the concepts of then or before or where just didn't apply in the way we understand them. There was only God.
Just God in his eternal self-existence.
Exactly. And Scripture speaks to this timelessness. Psalm 90.2. Before the mountains were born, or you brought forth the whole world, from everlasting to everlasting you are God.
Everlasting to everlasting. That sounds like a really long time.
It sounds like that to us, but the implication is deeper than just infinite duration within time. It points to an existence that transcends beginning and end altogether, in a temporal state, like a eternal now.
An eternal now. That's hard to grasp. We experience time like a river flowing in one direction.
We do. But imagine God isn't in the river. He's on the bank, seeing the entire river source, rapids, calm stretches, mouth all at once. Isaiah 57.15 says, he inhabits eternity. It suggests a mode of being completely outside our sequential experience.
Like the analogy of the 2D being trying to understand a 3D cube.
That's the helpful way to think about it. The 2D being only sees slices, cross-sections. It can't grasp the up and down. We, bound in linear time, see moments sequentially. God, inhabiting eternity, perhaps sees the entire sweep of time, past, present, future simultaneously.
Which would explain things like prophecy.
It makes sense of it, doesn't it? He's not predicting based on trends. He sees it because, from his eternal perspective, it's already present. And this connects directly to 2 Peter 3.8.
The verse about a day being like 1,000 years.
With the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like a day. It's not saying God experiences time differently, faster or slower. It's saying our measures of time are irrelevant to his mode of being. He's not bound by chronological flow at all.
So this timelessness relates to his omniscience knowing everything.
Absolutely. If he perceives all moments simultaneously, then he knows everything that happens in those moments. Past, present, future are all equally present to him.
And his immutability being unchanging.
Yes, because change itself requires time, a before and an after. If God exists outside of time, he isn't subject to processes like aging, growing, decaying, or even changing his mind in temporal sequence. His nature, his character, his knowledge are eternally constant.
Wow. Okay, so that's time. What about space? God is spirit, right? John 4.24.
God is spirit, meaning he's not made of matter. He doesn't have a physical body, so he's not limited by physical dimensions or location in the way we are.
He doesn't take up space like we do.
Correct. Isaiah 66.1 puts it poetically. Heaven is my throne and the earth is my footstool. What is the house you would build for me?
You can't build a box big enough.
Exactly. No physical structure, no temple, no universe even, can literally contain God. He's immeasurable, beyond spatial boundaries, because he created those boundaries. Space exists within his awareness, not the other way around.
Paul says something similar in Acts, doesn't he? To the Athenians.
Acts 17.24. The God who made the world does not live in temples built by human hands. It challenges that very human tendency to try and localize or contain the divine. He's not limited to a specific holy place.
But he's also everywhere, omnipresent. That seems like a contradiction.
It sounds like one, but it's a different kind of presence. Think of Psalm 139. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there.
Can't get away from him.
Right, but he's everywhere, not by being physically spread out like a gas filling a room, but by being fully present to every point in space simultaneously through his knowledge, power, and sustaining action.
So he doesn't have to travel from point A to point B.
No need. He's already present to point B just as he is to point A. He knows what's happening everywhere. He sustains everything everywhere. He can act anywhere, all from his transcendent position outside of space itself.
Like the programmer and the game analogy, present to every line of code without being in the game.
That's a decent analogy. He's intimately involved with his creation, sustaining it, interacting with it, but without being limited or defined by it.
Okay, uncaused. Outside time, outside space. Which leads us to God needs nothing. Aseity again.
Aseity, that total self-sufficiency. From Latin, ase from oneself. God's existence, his being, his power, his wisdom, his goodness, it all originates entirely from within himself. He is the source, never the recipient in terms of need.
That's fundamentally different from everything else.
Yeah.
Everything we know needs something.
Everything. Plants need sun, animals need food, machines need fuel, we need air. Everything is dependent. But God, no dependencies. He's a self-contained, self-sufficient reality, an endless fountain of being, power, and life.
And Paul really hammers this home in Acts 17, right?
He really does. Verses 24 and 25 again. Nor is he served by human hands as though he needed anything, since he himself gives to all mankind life and breath and everything.
He doesn't need our service or sacrifices or temples.
Not in the sense of fulfilling a lack in him. There is no lack. He's the giver of life, breath, everything. He doesn't derive his existence or well-being from us or anything in creation. Our service, our giving, it's a response to his grace, not a contribution to his need.
That Isaiah passage, too, about him not growing weary.
Isaiah 40.28. The Lord is the everlasting God. He does not faint or grow weary. His understanding is unsearchable. His energy, his power, his wisdom aren't drawn from some external battery. It's inherent, infinite, self-generating. He never runs down.
And Job poses that question.
Job 41.11. God speaking. Who has first given to me that I should repay him? Whatever is under the whole heaven is mine. It's unanswerable.
Because everything comes from him in the first place. You can't give him something he doesn't already possess or own.
Exactly. There's no basis for bargaining or saying God owes us anything. He's the ultimate source, the ultimate giver. We are the recipients.
And John 5.26 about having life in himself.
For as the Father has life in himself, so he has granted the Son also to have life in himself. It emphasizes that God's life isn't borrowed or derived. It's intrinsic. He is life, the very source of all life. That's why he can give life.
So this self-sufficiency, this aseity, is like the bedrock for his other attributes. Omnipotence? Omniscience?
It really is the foundation.
Yeah.
Because he depends on nothing. He is limited by nothing. His power is infinite. Omnipotence, because it's not derived from a finite source. His knowledge is infinite. Omniscience, because he's not limited by time or space in his perception. His presence is everywhere. Omnipresence, because he transcends space.
It all flows from him being, well, him, existing from himself.
Precisely. His essence is his existence. That's unique to him. Everything else has an essence, what it is, and receives existence from outside itself. For God, they are one and the same. He exists because he is God.
Which makes sense of the title, God Almighty, El Shaddai.
El Shaddai, often translated Almighty, but carrying that deep sense of the all-sufficient one, the one who has all power, meets all needs, accomplishes all purposes entirely from his own resources. He is God all by himself, needs nothing.
Okay. So if God is this different, uncaused, outside time, outside space, needing nothing, how on earth do we even begin to understand or relate to him? It seems impossible.
And that's exactly where faith comes in. It becomes not just important, but essential.
Because our usual tools don't work. Microscopes, telescopes.
Exactly. You can't put God in a test tube. He's not an object within the universe to be empirically measured or analyzed using the methods we use for the universe. He's the ground of the universe. Remember Isaiah 55.
My thoughts are not your thoughts.
Neither are your ways my ways. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. He's in a completely different category. Wholly other.
Not just a bigger version of us.
Not at all. He is being itself.
Yep.
We are beings who have being derived from him. That difference is absolute. So our minds, limited by time, space, and our own dependent nature, simply cannot fully grasp him through reason or observation alone. We hit a ceiling.
We need another way.
We need another way.
True.
We need revelation, God revealing himself to us, and we need faith to accept that revelation and relate to the one who transcends our full comprehension. We can know him truly as he reveals himself, but never exhaustively.
And understanding this, it changes our perspective on ourselves too, doesn't it?
Profoundly. It forces us to recognize our own dependence. We are created. We are sustained. Every breath is a gift from this independent, self-sufficient God. We aren't self-made, despite what culture sometimes tells us.
That leads to humility, right?
It has to. A deep humility. A recognition of his sovereignty, his utter uniqueness, and our complete reliance on him. And flowing from that humility comes worship, not trying to appease him, but acknowledging his greatness and our dependence.
It also kind of pushes back against that modern ideal of total self-reliance, doesn't it?
Absolutely. We chase independence, self-sufficiency, thinking that's where fulfillment lies. But the truth is, only God is truly independent. Our fulfillment comes not from trying to mimic that independence, which is impossible for us anyway.
But from connecting with the one who is independent.
Exactly. Finding our security and purpose in relationship with the self-sufficient source of all good things. Aligning ourselves with reality itself. And honestly, there's incredible peace in that.
So.
Because if our ultimate hope rests on God, who is eternal, unchanging, self-sufficient, he won't run out of resources. He won't get tired. He won't change his mind about his promises. He won't decay or fail. He's the ultimate stable anchor in a world that's constantly shifting. That can take away a lot of anxiety.
That makes sense. And this view of God stands in pretty stark contrast to other ways of seeing the world, like atheism or materialism.
It really does. Materialism, for example, ultimately has to claim that matter or energy itself is eternal and uncaused.
But science points to a beginning for the universe.
Right. The Big Bang strongly suggests matter, energy, space, and time all had a beginning. And things that begin need a cause. Furthermore, matter and energy are clearly contingent. They change, interact, follow laws, decay. They don't have the characteristics of a necessary self-existent reality.
So materialism struggles to explain the ultimate origin.
It hits the same wall. It can't logically account for how contingent reality came from nothing without positing a cause that transcends contingent reality. Even ideas like a multiverse just push the question back.
Yeah.
What caused the multiverse generator? You still need an uncaused cause somewhere.
Only something non-material, timeless, spaceless.
And powerful, intelligent, and personal, as the Bible describes God, seems to adequately fit the bill as the uncaused cause of a universe like ours.
And what about idolatry? False gods.
Same principle applies. Whether it's an ancient statue or a modern idol like money, power, status, or even worshiping humanity or the self. These are all created, dependent things.
They are contingent.
They are contingent. They don't exist in and of themselves. So placing your ultimate trust and worship in them is building on a foundation that cannot ultimately hold. They will fail, fade, or prove insufficient because they are not the self-existent source.
Which makes worshiping the true self-sufficient God so different.
Utterly different. It's resting in the one who actually is the foundation. And the amazing thing is, this God who needs nothing, he chooses to invite us into relationship. That's pure grace. His eternal, unchanging nature means his love and faithfulness are secure. He won't disappear. He won't run out of love. He won't fail. That's incredible hope.
And Jesus, he steps right into this picture claiming this very nature.
Astonishingly, yes. Think about John 8:58 again. Jesus tells his opponents, truly, truly, I say to you, before Abraham was, I am.
Using that divine name, I am.
Explicitly, he's not just saying he existed before Abraham. He's identifying himself with the eternal, self-existent God revealed to Moses. For his listeners, that was either blasphemy or the truth. There was no middle ground. He was claiming to be the uncaused one in human flesh.
And Hebrews supports this.
Hebrews 1:3, Jesus is the radiance of God's glory and the exact imprint of his nature, and he upholds the universe by the word of his power. Radiance of glory, exact imprint, actively upholding everything. This points to his co-eternal deity and his ongoing role as the sustainer, the one holding reality together.
Sharing the Father's uncaused nature and power.
Yes, and in Revelation 1:17, the resurrected Jesus says, fear not, I am the first and the last and the living one. He claims those same titles of eternal Godhead. It shows the uncaused cause, the eternal one, entered time, even experienced death to redeem us. The ultimate act of the transcendent God reaching into contingent reality.
This perspective also gives context to the idea of spiritual conflict, doesn't it?
It does. If you think about figures like Satan in the biblical narrative, he's presented as a created being. Powerful, yes, but ultimately contingent, dependent on God for his very existence.
So his rebellion is ultimately futile.
It's cosmically absurd in a way. It's a created being trying to usurp the position of the uncaused creator, trying to claim an independence he simply doesn't possess. It's like a shadow trying to fight the light source.
And our own temptations towards pride or idolatry.
They often echo that same fundamental error, don't they? Trying to find our ultimate security or identity in ourselves or in other created things, denying God's unique status as the only truly independent, self-sufficient one, acting like we are the I am.
But God's nature, his transcendence, his aseity, guarantees his ultimate sovereignty.
Absolutely. Because he is uncaused and self-sufficient, he cannot ultimately be threatened or thwarted by his creation. His power and being are inherent and infinite. The outcome of the spiritual conflict is assured because of who God is. This is why faith in his self-existence is so crucial. It means trusting the one whose nature guarantees. He's a stable, reliable, and ultimately victorious.
It provides that ultimate security.
Immense security. Knowing the foundation of reality is unshakable.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. This deep dive has taken us into some pretty profound territory.
Definitely mind-stretching stuff.
The picture of God we get from the Bible isn't just, a super powerful being. It's something totally different.
Totally different, uncaused, uncreated, existing completely outside of time and space, needing absolutely nothing. He's not just the biggest thing in the box. He's the reality that contains the box and isn't defined by it.
Beyond our ability to fully grasp, yet he reveals himself.
And incredibly, this utterly transcendent, self-sufficient being steps into our dependent world, into time, in Jesus. That's the heart of the gospel message, really.
The one who needs nothing gives everything.
Precisely. He gives life, he gives grace, he gives himself.
So the final thought for you listening, what does it really mean to anchor your life, your hope, your trust, not in the temporary things of this world, things that are just as dependent and fleeting as we are, but in this eternal rock, this uncaused cause?
Yeah, think about that. He is God all by himself. Our praise doesn't make him greater. Our rejection doesn't make him less. He simply is. And yet, this infinite, self-existent being knows you, calls you, invites you into relationship through his Son.
That's the uncaused cause, outside time, dependent on nothing. God Almighty. And he reaches out to you, something profound to reflect on.